Well, welcome to Communication Access Connect for July 16th, 2024. July is identified as Disability Pride Month. So we are going to have our guest speakers are going to be three of our young advocates who are all about pride, all about communication, and all about inclusion. And so they're going to lead us off on a conversation. But I want to share with you first who I am and who our team is from Disability Voices United, and then we will get started. So I'm Darlene Hansen. I am the lead person in the empowerment team hosting the Disability Voices United Communication Access Connect. And I am, I get to my visual descriptions. Yay me, I got it. I have shoulder length gray hair. I wear glasses with a red frame. I am a white senior person, I guess you could, I'm supposed to say senior now. I'm wearing a black vest, which you can't see, but it says everyone belongs here on there, and a white shirt. I have a green background with the words Disability Voices United above my head to the left on my screen. I'm going to pass it on to Nina. You want to join us real quick here?
Yeah. Yes, I just had to get my mute off. So I'm so glad Darlene already did the visual description because I can glom onto most of that. My name is Nina Spiegelman. I'm the policy director for DVU, and access to communication support and just generally, the civil rights aspect of having that access is a hugely high priority to DVU, and it's very fun to celebrate it at this Disability Pride Month, which is an anniversary. I think it's like maybe the 34th or something anniversary of the adoption of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so, we're all about all that stuff. And for visual description, I got the same green background, Disability Voices United background. I'm wearing a striped shirt. I'm much older than Darlene. So whatever is beyond senior to like aged, but very happily, I'm proud of that too. Glasses, gray, whatever, taupe colored hair. And that's that. And so I can't wait to hear what we got going. And who's going to be next, Darlene? And
we're throwing it to Michaela, who is our next Eric.
Hello, ahead. My name is Michaela Boudreau. I'm a new program assistant here at DVU. And one of the teams that I am training to work with is the empowerment team who hosts this Communication Access Connect. So right now, today, I'll be watching Eric do all the behind the scenes magic, and then hopefully starting next month, I'll be doing the behind the scenes magic. But for today, if you have any questions, either for the presenters or on how to make the Zoom work, get your captions to work, anything like that, you can put them in the chat and I will be the one answering those today. For a visual description, I want to say middle-aged now that I'm 30, but no, I'm a younger white woman with short blonde hair. I'm currently wearing a black t-shirt with a white collar, and I am happy to be here.
Great. Thanks, Michaela. And I'm going to have William, I'm going to save you because you're going to introduce yourself as you present. And did I forget anybody from DVU? I don't know who else on, but anyways, welcome. There's more of us DVU people in here in the group as well. All right, so today, like I said, it's Disability Pride Month, and I'm excited to once again have our young leaders within Disability Voices United, but really within our communication movement with us to talk about disability, the pride that we have within our disabled community, but also our inclusive community, right? And then afterwards, we're going to have a conversation about where we all fit in this picture and what we want to strive to do next, to do differently. So I'm going to bring on our guest speakers here. We're going to have William Del Rosario, and who else are we going to have? Bella, or Isabella Santoyo, goes by Bella, and Otto Lana. So I'm going to turn it over to you three, to tell us more about and inspire us to think about disability pride. We're going to start with you, William.
Hi everyone, my name is William Del Rosario, and I'm a student intern with DVU. I'm a 24-year-old Hispanic Filipino young man, have short black hair, I have brown eyes and wear glasses. My pronouns are he and him. Today, I'm wearing a black shirt that says everyone belongs here. I'm a multimodal communicator and have been using spelled communication for over 10 years. You'll find me using my communication wherever I go, and I hope to make a difference in setting the communication expectation for everyone. Thank you for being here today. Take it away, B.
Hello, friends. I'm Bella. I'm a Hispanic autistic multimodal communicator. I am 22 years old and am currently a student attending Golden West College. I live in a busy community called Belmont Shore where I enjoy all the sights and sounds of beach living. I have had to overcome many obstacles to access a quality education along with the needed support in order to earn my high school diploma. Accessing higher education has always been my dream. I am a person with a disability who wishes to learn and belong just like everyone else. I am an avid traveler and take my letterboards on all my adventures. A quick visual description: I have long brunette hair and big dark brown eyes that may avert looking at you. I'm wearing my Everyone Belongs Here black t-shirt. My effect may look stoic, but don't let that fool you. I am happy inside, I just may not show it. Supporting me today is my mom, Anna. Thanks for having me here today.
Hello everyone. Thank you for this invitation this afternoon, and thank you for celebrating Disability Pride Month with us. My name is Otto Lana. I am 19 years old, a recent high school graduate, and currently attending University of San Diego as a freshman. My pronouns are he, him. I have short brunette hair stylishly gelled back. I identify as Hispanic. My father was born in Argentina. Yeah. We won the Copa Soccer tournament. Go Messi. You can notice my Australian accent on my communication device. That is by choice. Everyone associates Aussies with beach-loving activities. That is another one of my identities. I love the ocean. You will never find me far from a body of water. That is why I designed a waterproof letterboard. I use alternative and augmentative communication tools as I have apraxia, which affects my oral fluency. I too am wearing my signature t-shirt, which you can find along with my letterboards on my website www.ottosmottos.com. This is a shameless plug and product placement. And a quick mention for our virtual background. We chose orange with our Mod Squad for Access logo. We choose orange instead of the Disability Pride flag because orange is like construction cones or work in progress signs. We are definitely works in progress, and our progress gives us pride. We are proud people. We value the space we inhabit. My disability is the least interesting thing about me. My disability is one facet of my identity. Disability Pride July is a chance for the rest of society to catch up to what we already know. We thought it would be fun to take the word pride and break it down, letter by letter.
Thank you, Otto and Bella. I have to agree, I am so much more than my disability. More than an identity. I am so proud to be part of a movement where we are having to stand up less for our right to be in our community and are able to stand out more for what we bring to the community. This July, as you reflect upon disability pride, I hope you'll join us in helping others see less of our differences and more of the differences each of us can make every day.
Yes, Otto, I agree. I'm a person, not a diagnosis. I am proud of more important things in my life, but a month to recognize our past, present, and future merits towards access and possibilities is important. Let's embrace our badass disabled selves and gain momentum as a community to break barriers and build new doors of opportunity for all.
Assume competence. This is the concept I chose for the letter P. Presuming competence is the assumption that an individual is capable and competent until proven otherwise. It is creating an environment that fosters growth, inclusion, and meaningful participation for everyone. It emphasizes the importance of giving ample opportunities rather than limitations based on preconceived notions, biases, or stereotypes. That was not my story for my first 9 years. But luckily I met Darlene Hanson, and my last decade, and all the success I have has had everything to do with my support, presuming competence. What say you, Billa?
I thought of the word perseverance for the letter P. My pride comes from perseverance in claiming what is my right to claim. Perseverance should not be the rule, but it was my reality. Having to be steadfast in my pursuit for qualified trained support has not been easy but necessary. I am proud of having a voice that perseveres and overcomes obstacles and naysayers.
Perception is the word I thought of for the letter P. My experience has been that when you lead with a diagnosis, there is automatically a perception a person forms that is based on exposure, education, or lack thereof, that forms their assumptions about you. For example, had I introduced myself, or worse, let someone else introduce me as William, a nonverbal 24-year-old with autism, what do you think the perception would have been? For some, I have to believe that it would be an unthinking, incapable child with autism that was trapped in a 24-year-old body. Let's keep the labels on jars and start leading with who we are, our dreams, our hopes, our accomplishments, and the possibilities we are capable of.
Respect and resilience. Of course, I picked 2 words. I'm extra like that. Respect is such an essential piece of life and communication. Once you can verify you have a robust system of communication in place, it is imperative for support to respect the no. No means no. It does not mean try one more time. It means no. Respecting the no fosters trust. Of course, we all have bad days that are filled with lots of no's, but that is where resilience comes. We all can get up and face the grind tomorrow to make improvements in our lives and our systems of support.
My R word is a positive one, and for me makes all the difference in my life. It's rapport. Seems simple enough, but without rapport it is impossible for me to be effectively supported. I must have positive rapport with my support staff, and in turn, they, with me. Rapport builds connection, and connection matters. I deserve to feel liked and safe in all environments.
Robust is the word I thought of for the letter R. Not just robust communication. Everyone should be able to live and experience a full and robust life that they choose. I am thankful to those before me who have paved the way for inclusion, community, and supported decision-making that allows me to think less about whether something is possible and more about how I can creatively achieve my dreams to design a robust life.
The more we are integrated into society, the less we seem different. Everyone benefits from integration and inclusion. Whoever said no to a curb cut or an oversized bathroom stall? Let's continue to make universal design a standard practice.
Powerful thoughts, Otto. I love pride making access a non-issue. To bounce off your idea, I thought of the word instinct. Instinct to see a person with differences as a human being, that's it. Instinct tells us we all belong. It also should tell us separate is not equal. Instinct tells us that no amount of marginalization is good, appropriate, or just.
Individualized. As a person with a disability, systems have often categorized me or looked for a program or placement for me to fit in. I am here to say that we can, and all do, have our own and unique needs that are individual to each person. We spoke about respect, resilience, and rapport to build a robust life. For many, the secret ingredient is making it individualized. Yes, we may share a connection as people living with a disability, but you and your circle of support are the most important members of the team, so share what you need. Support comes in many forms, so use as much or as little as you need to stay true to you.
Disability is diversity. Disabled persons are the only class of protected peoples who intersect with every other facet of society. Age, gender, race, culture, sexual orientation. We represent everywhere. I am proud of the sheer number of people our demographic comprises. 1 in 4 people are disabled. We will all become disabled at some point in our lives. Embrace diversity. Embrace disability. Disability is a fact, not a failure to be able.
Direction. Where are you going, and will you be in the driver's or back seat? Look for opportunities for self-direction. Being a passenger gets you to the next destination, but directing your life takes you where you want to go. Advocate for that and choose your own path. The world is yours to explore.
My squad is on point today. Disability pride is among us because we embrace our diversity and direct our lives to live meaningfully and without limits. For many of us, it means doing so with proper support, and so, be determined to defend this right. Pride takes determination to build the life we deserve and want.
Equity does not mean the same for everyone. Equity means everyone gets what they need to be successful. This means different supports for different people of different support at different times in an individual's life. Equity is adaptable and evolves.
Emerging. We are all works in progress. When we recognize this and learn from each opportunity, even on the hard days, we can grow and emerge into the leaders we are destined to become.
Ready, is Otto or Bella? Otto.
I think it's Bella,
I think
but
it's Bella,
Okay, Bella.
I think she got frozen.
she might have frozen. Do you want to read it? Or
Yeah, she's not on anymore? Okay.
no, so
Equality education is not for a select few. Are you back, B? No. Okay, that's me. It's a leveler that must be accessible to all. I am proud that as a part of Mod Squad, I am an active public speaking advocate for equity, access, inclusion, and support. The leadership and advocacy opportunities with DVU's Emerging Leaders Program and Self-Advocate Speakers Bureau has trained me to take advocacy to the next level. Education is invaluable as we are lifelong learners. Being aware of our rights is imperative. For me, pride is knowing that I have the ability to be an empowered advocate for myself and others.
Thank you, Bella and Otto, for joining DVU at this month's Communication Access Connect. I'm proud of us and everyone in our growing community. It's an honor to stand with you all. Let's keep the conversation going as we each strive to make a difference.
Thank you, Bella and William, for being my squad mates. Thank you, Darlene and Disability Voices United, for the platform to move our agenda of inclusion forward. The more we are seen and heard, the harder we are to ignore. Be proud for all the things you are and all the things you do. Share your pride. It is contagious. In a good way.
All right. Thank you, Mod Squad, for being a part of and leading us to get this conversation started today. I put their buzzwords in there based on not sounding out, but writing out their identifying words for pride. And yeah, Bella, that's okay. Sorry, I read your last paragraph. That's okay. So let's open this up to conversations in the chat or conversations if you want to say something to us, raise your hand and we'll pull you online. But we wanted to keep the conversation going about where we all fit in Disability Pride Month. So we'll talk about it in terms of a larger group. You mentioned accessibility in our communities, and I'm wondering, where do you all see successes for accessibility and also challenges that continue for accessibility? Anybody have any stories to share about where they think we are in our community as far as accessibility goes? I know I was just online with a friend her partner is in a wheelchair and his friends are in wheelchairs, and they were all going to try to go to the Pirates dinner house here in Buena Park, California, Southern California. And they were just trying to find out about the accessibility for all the wheelchairs that would be coming in. And they couldn't even get a call back. So they're going to Korean barbecue instead, because they couldn't figure out if they had accessibility at the pirate place. William says, thank you all for joining. Please share in the chat. Thank you, William. Anybody have any stories they want to share about accessibility in your lives? I'm gonna try and view everybody so I can see if people are generating ideas real quick here. Nobody?
I would just jump in, Darlene, just on top of what you were, that little story you were describing. I have a million of them when I've got friends I'm going to be with or folks come to visit. I'm trying to get out ahead of a situation and make sure there's accessibility, whether it's a restaurant or a park, trails, or whatever. And to find out in advance is like, it's too hard it's way too hard. And the websites a lot of times are not kept up, or
Really?
some places don't have, so it's just, I just can't, I'm always struck by the sort of continuing kind of low ambient level of frustration.
Yeah. Welcome, Todd from Westside Regional Center. Bella says, we have more to accomplish in universal design. Yeah. Otto says, I was trying to find a transcription app for a Zoom. Trying to take notes in class was very difficult. Anyone have suggestions? What about this new AI feature? Doesn't that work? No? In Zoom? Isn't there an AI feature that I haven't paid attention to? Anybody know? Jose Pastrana says there is an AI feature in Zoom Auto, and that it's a great feature. So maybe just learning how to use that. Max says the lack of flexibility and understanding for access needs, even in disability spaces, is so frustrating. Yeah. Anybody else have anything on that topic? I'm not of the community, so it's hard for me to come up with my own ideas and examples. But somewhere I was, gosh, where was it? Oh, it was a camp. It was an adult camp that one of my clients goes to here in the Los Angeles area. And when I asked if they were using their communication system at camp, and they said no, because you're not supposed to have your technology with you. And I'm like,
Okay.
well, that's not good. Being the camp for people with disabilities, and you don't recognize that you're going to need the communication access. Yeah, that's not good. Ellen says, what specifically needs to be more flexible to meet your needs, Mac? I'm thinking too, like the parking spots where people crowd the doors so that you can't get in and out of the cars, which happens to all of us, but it's more imperative, like you can't squeeze out a wheelchair. William says, I'm happy to see communication in the IPP template. However, I think the next part is making sure it gets implemented. Acknowledgement is great, but action is necessary. And Kaylee says, for college, you can actually have someone in the class take notes for you. You have to tell the school about your disability to get this. And Ellen says, I have this and it's helpful. Adrian says, I wish I could jump in our pool with my buddies, but they don't have a hydronic for us. Oh, that would be an issue. Emma says, oh, Emma, hi. Glad Emma's here. I'm thinking of good things about the accessibility that I have found at my school, Vanguard University. I have been very accepted and accommodated. Cool. Okay, so we're getting some positives in here, and we still got some work to do, is what it sounds like. How do you think that, especially like those of us who have needs that we're sharing, it would be nice to have it fixed. How do we or you make a difference? How can you change that? How are you inspired to fix whatever it is that we're talking about, that your need is? Bella says, it surprises me that support is modeled more looking at personal care. I need it for that, but for, oh, someone's putting in the information about the AI. Sorry, Bella. I need it for that, but also for accessing an academic life and social as well. Yep. And Barry says, I enjoy attending music concerts and beer and taco festivals, but many times these venues aren't accessible for wheelchair users. Also, ADA tickets are more pricey and very limited number of choices. Are you serious? The concert tickets, do you think, are more pricey? That's messed up. Isabella says it's important to see and hear us. Yeah. Kaylee says at schools I went to, another student in the class would take notes for the person who needs it So yes, it would work over Zoom too. Oh, as far as the AI, I guess, goes, you guys are having that conversation. William says, for college students, do you use a personal accommodation page to share with your team? And I've got one for college since college keeps coming up. Max says, honestly, I would like people not being upset if I have to miss or reschedule, willing to make online or hybrid events, COVID safety. Having places just to exit that are sober, TWCW usage. Viewing access as a conversation and community care and not just as a ADA approved check mark. Yeah, if you truly had inclusion, then people should be thinking about how to include whoever it is they're talking with, right? And if you need space for your wheelchair, if you need time for your AAC, whatever you need, we as humans should be more accommodating to each other, right? Anyways, I was thinking, does anyone know, this has not been a situation we've had before where we can fix it, but is there any talk about the colleges, especially the state colleges, having more uniformed ways of engaging with their students with special needs or whatever the department's called, so that it's not a single school kind of experience. Everybody can know exactly who you go to, exactly who you're talking to can have the same prior knowledge as the other college you used to go to. Is there any uniform discussion coming up? Anybody know? It's always been so separate. Anybody know who we can talk to about that? That would be something DBU could take on, I think, if we could identify a process. Not at my university, yeah, Ellen, I know. Needing support has often been looked at negatively, but I have experienced a change. Good. Kaylee says, I don't think so. The colleges don't really talk to each other to share this information. Oscar says, like the DSPS, at least what they call it is my college, Disability Support Service. Oh, thank you, Oscar. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Colleges and universities do have some uniformed, like even just tuition, right? If you're in a Cal State system, the tuition looks like this. If you're in a university system, it looks one way. Oscar, what are you thinking? Let's unmute Oscar. Hang on, Oscar, go for it.
Yeah, so my personal experience was when I first got admitted into college, I was taking virtual classes, but I was really concerned over, the rights and accommodations that I had in my IEP during high school. And I understand that not the entire IEP won't be, shifted towards the college, but some accommodations can still be accessible through the DSPS department at least in the college that I go to. But when I tried to contact them through email and through cell phone multiple times, they never responded. They never called back. They never emailed back. And so communication was a real concern regarding them. And to this day, it's been 3 years, and I've attended my college classes, but they've never contacted me, and I've never had any accommodations as far as what the DSPS is concerned. So I would like to see in the future colleges and universities having something like that, but they being more accessible, that they are responsible with communication, and that they're held accountable if they're not reaching out to all the IDD participants in the campus.
Great points. Great points. And someone was saying that part of the problem, Kaylee, I think you're saying this, that all the colleges don't have the same terminology for the department. I feel like we should should be able to, I mean, if there's nobody, like, if there's no chain of command that goes like this, and it's just this, then we gotta go to the top, right? Maybe we need to look at that and going to who chancellor, whatever you call the head person of the, even the Cal State system or the university systems. And, because they do have a system. I don't think the community colleges have a system that they're all connected to. I don't know for sure.
They all have disability offices. I have talked to Kelly Kulzer Reyes about that. She might be able to give us some guidance. The community college system they should, every single one of them should have a disability services
But do they
office. And
talk
I
to
just,
each other?
I think to a certain extent, but not probably not as highly developed as the, state college or university.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be a project that some of us might want to take on in our pride. Let's see what I'm looking at. What else? Bella says, I think you have to find strong DSPS counselors and advocate loudly. Ellen says they have a list of prescribed accommodations for each disability. If your needs are outside that list, they will refuse you. There's no room for creativity and no one guides you through that process. They just say no to as much as they can. That's my experience anyway. Oh. Okay. They have a list for each disability. That seems not very individualized, does it? Lauren, Marizella is saying that she supports you, Oscar. William says that would be great if there were a dean of student services for students with disabilities. Yeah, there you go.
That's such a great idea.
That's a great idea. Okay, sorry. Perfect, Lauren, I got you. I'm gonna go to Oscar at 440. That's another good point. Finding accessible counselors. I've yet to talk to a good counselor about career choices. That's a whole nother topic, isn't it, you guys? Kaylee says at 440, I've also had friends who get approved for accommodations, but the teachers didn't want to follow the accommodations. Ooh, and then accountability comes into play, right? What is the mandate on that? Do you get to choose to not participate? Okay, Oscar says at 440, oh, no, excuse me, things are jumping, so I think there's new stuff, but there's not. Ellen says that's what happened to my friend at 441. Yeah. Okay, let's think about, Carrie, okay, at 441, at Cypress College, they had a great program for people with disabilities. And then Bella follows that with, yes, higher ed is going to be the next priority according to rep we heard in Sacramento. Yeah, I've seen different things coming along that talk about higher education, so that's a good thing, isn't it? I think that the colleges, like Oscar's saying, I think it was Oscar, people need to understand that you are picking the department you want to join, the vocation you want to have, the career and that you're getting an education for, that they are not picking it any more than they would for anyone else that comes in their door. Because I think as a society, we still have preconceived ideas about the jobs that individuals with special needs might or disabilities might want and be qualified for. And I know that those are not accurate. So we're going to have education to do on that end too. William says, I am pleased to see at 442. I am pleased to see so many seeking college and career. I know, me too. All right. Here's a question that I thought of. Well, I'll be honest. Me and ChatGPT thought of this question. How do you guys see your disability intersecting with others' identities? Are there intersections that it comes up sometimes in our conversations with DVU? Do you see your disability intersecting with other identities? Does it matter that it does? Does it matter that it doesn't? I know at DVU, we often talk about how the supported decision-making and conservatorship has overlapped with, I'm not gonna get all the letters right, LGBTQ community. I probably forgot some of the letters, I apologize. But there's an overlap in what people have preconceived notions, and mostly it's because of the Britney Spears thing. But we've been able to get involved in that community a lot. Anybody else have any ideas on that? Otto says disability is diversity. Anybody else?
There's a lot of great writing on the intersectionality of disability and other areas, other identities in the whole disability justice movement really stem from that. And our former board member and great ally, Leroy Moore, is a great writer in that sphere. Alice Wong, there's such incredible thinking out there and, writing.
Leroy's a good connection, yeah. I think it crosses with the equity issues, right? William's typing. I don't know, he probably might say something like that. Otto says at 4:45, with so many disabled people, of course we intersect. That's what I was thinking. It's just math and probability. And Bella says, we are not all same, but we should embrace differences. And Emma at 4:45 says, I think when I overlap, I try to do it with hope and love. Yep, and that crosses all. Hopefully. I'm pausing because I can see William typing. Emma says, that way I have a positive effect. William says, just now, 4:46, I think I'm connected more with the Hispanic community. Yes, civil rights my grandparents fought for are similar and sometimes still present in both the Hispanic and disability worlds. Yes, that's a good one too. So we all know Judy Heumann's story, or I'm assuming we all do. If you don't, feel free to ask and one of us will express it to you. But thinking of Judy's story, how do you think that time, would you say it was, Nina, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago? How many years
Yeah, I think I now I can't help but think about Judy Heumann in relation to, I don't know if anybody's seen the film Crip Camp, but
Right.
Going back to like sort of the 60s or early 60s when things started, and then a lot of people got kind of just really energized at these opportunities to get together. And then in Berkeley there were some amazing leaders and things really took off starting then.
Mm-hmm. So how do we all think this is that movement, that catalyst got when it got started? How do you think it's impacted your life now? I think that sometimes we forget that history has impacted our lives, and sometimes it's sad when you look back because you think, oh my gosh, we're moving very slowly and nothing's really changing. And other times you think that was a pivotal moment. Anybody else have any ideas on or thoughts on how did that whole movement from the 60s impact you today? I mean, I think for me, and again, I'm not an individual with a disability, but I'm a professional that works in this field, and the Judy Human started in the 60s and that, but I came into this field in the late 70s, early 80s, and I know that many people who were there with their signs and all at the same time as Judy and her friends, they were friends of mine, and the impact for us in our community was to close down the segregated, we call them segregated sites. So the segregated school systems in our community were eventually shut down. Can't remember the last one to close what year that was. It probably was in the early 90s, maybe. And we were able to move to setting up the school system to be more inclusive. I'm not saying it's inclusive because I don't feel like it is completely inclusive, but the design was set up so that it could be more inclusive and people would be going to their neighborhood schools in theory, which they probably meet most of the criteria for that part of it anyways. Still a whole lot of other stuff to do. But that I think is the biggest pivot point from that beginning story for me. Adrian at 448 says, what's the point and how is it related to Communication Connect? Oh, so, okay, talk about Judy Human is a big advocate for communication. So how does it relate to our communication? How does that story relate to you having or not having communication in your life right now? Does it? I feel like our disability pride movement does impact our communication. For example, I'll keep talking until somebody types. So if you want me to stop talking, you better start typing. Bella says she inspired me to fight for AAC trained support staff, right? When I first got into this field, there was no technology. Technology didn't really exist yet as a universal anything. It was starting to be universal and or be the starting points of what would be universal. And so what happens when you have a more inclusive setting, or excuse me, I'll back it up. When you have a segregated setting, what we all know is that everybody's life goes down because the norm becomes less and less because people aren't included. People aren't inspired to do more, to do better as teachers even. And then that ends up being that you as a student are not inspired to do more or to do better. Everything just really disintegrates for individuals. And that's why we wanted desegregation, because we know that that happens. So in terms of communication, individuals in those settings, they don't communicate, doesn't matter. Lots of people don't hear. That's what people would say. So like you were mentioning, William, people being able to say, not talk about the things I don't do, but talk about who I am as a person. That for me, that came from, for example, desegregation, because it just made the momentum more and more that we started thinking about people as terms of how are we going to get inclusion going? How are we going to get education going? Oh gosh, how are people communicating that? Oh, here's technology. Let's do a little bit more. So it kind of snowballs the other way a little bit. Again, not done yet, but I don't know if that answers you exactly, Adrian, but that's how I would tie it in. William at 452 says that is true. In theory, the systems are supposed to work, but they don't always do so. I was inspired to fight too. Progress is slow, but together we are bringing the hard questions forward. So your inspiration, William, comes from just the idea that we're just advocating and fighting for what we want. Bella says AAC was not robust in school. No. It's hopefully changing, but not. Carrie says, I was born at 453. I was born in 1960. So in schools, the school system sucked until I was 10 and a half with great teachers in the 1970s. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have Oscar come on in.
Yeah, so in terms of history, we've managed a lot in the cap of, past couple, 50, 60 years. But when we're looking at it right now, it does seem slower. And there are many barriers that we're confronting as a community, as coming from distinct, diverse backgrounds. It does seem that we're moving slower. When we get the whole picture, we've managed a lot. I mean, the Latterman Act, the 21 regional centers, having rights as individuals, even though we do have a disability. I mean, if we go prior to the 60s, there was none of that. That didn't exist, and it was much difficult for individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities to thrive. In fact, the social norm was to make fun of them because they were not normal. That was what society back then thought of. So in terms of the broader, the broader image, right? We've managed a lot. There's still a lot of work to be done in the future. I agree, but I think now that you mentioned disability pride, I think we should take pride in what has already been accomplished by previous outstanding individuals that have been the champion for disability rights, and also the things that we've individually accomplished as individuals with disability ourselves, what we have done for ourselves, what we have done for our communities and families. So I think in that sense, there is collective pride and there's also individual pride in what has been accomplished, because things have been accomplished.
Yeah. Thanks for that. That was perfect. Yep. I mean, in the, gosh, I'm going to say in the early 2000s, well, 90s as well, I guess. We started truly working on inclusion. I mean, first it was integration, right? And then it became inclusion. And I was really active in that, and I'm all for inclusion. And then I found myself in a meeting or gathering, wasn't even a meeting, it was an informal gathering at Dr. Mary Falvey's house. And younger people were there. And guess what we were talking about? This was in probably like 2000 and I don't know, 14 maybe. We were talking about inclusion. And it was so sad to me because I'm like, I can't believe we're still having this conversation. And it seems so familiar from so long ago, about how, people still talking about how you have to prove yourself to be included in different school systems. And, they want to have you do some testing to decide whether or not you can take a regular ed class. And these weird conversations that we had been having for 20, 30 years, we were still having, and I think we still are having. And I think for individuals who have communication access issues, it's even greater because you can't participate in what they even want you to participate in to prove that you should be included, which you don't have to prove. But in their minds, they're making up these rules. And you can't even participate in it because you're not afforded access to communication. So it's a kind of a domino thing. But I think history is hopefully, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But we got to remember that we did go then 1 step forward. Right. So we got to keep going with that. Thanks, Oscar. That's awesome. I'll look at what here. William says, I agree at 4:55. Kathy said, well said at 4:55. And Bella said, yes. Emma said, yes. Blanco said, yes. Carrie said, I had to prove to everyone I did understand. What are some of the ways that you guys think, especially people who have communication differences, if you have proven it to anyone that you understand, like you said, Carrie, what did you do? What was that pivotal moment where you're like, oh my gosh, they finally got it? Even if it was just one person finally got it. But what was that? How did you make that happen? And I'm going to allow a little time because if you're a communicator with AAC, then it might take a little bit of time to put your thought together. But how do you, if you've convinced anyone that you understand, how did you do that? Bella at 459 says equitable education to all, regardless of differences. Yeah. Oscar says agreed. Okay, Emma at 459 says, yes, it was participating in class and showing how smart I was. So the act of participation for you, Emma, allowed you to show how smart I was. If you don't get to participate in the class, then you probably aren't going to get to show that, right? It's kind of like goes both ways kind of a thing. But that's very true. That was great. Carrie says, I was drawing, but started writing ABCs. Very good. You had to think of that. You had to do that yourself, right, Carrie? Yeah. She's like, I got to speak to these people. Very says, doing more than what's expected from you. That, oh my gosh, that's such a true statement, and it's a true expectation, and it's so wrong. I think people are expected to do more than everybody else and to prove their viability, and it just doesn't make any sense. William says, we are making history. It started with one word, not my last. Very good. At 5 o'clock, he said that. At 5 o'clock, Otto says, you can't flog a dead horse. You have to find the environment that believes in you. That's a good one too. Just go where people are going to hear you, listen. Yep. Adrian says, thanks for this meetup. Someone just showed up, gotta run. Okay, bye, Adrian. Thanks for joining us. Anybody else have a story that they want to share about? Even if you're a speaking person, have you helped or supported someone to make that pivotal moment happen? No? Okay, good. That's all right. Okay, so last thing I wanted to bring up was kind of in a conclusion. What should we do next to remind people of our stories and wants? What can you do next to remind people of your stories and wants? Bella says, let's continue to work on ending segregation. Disabled students are students first. Yeah. Yeah, good point. So that's something you can remind people of, right, Emma? Bella, excuse me. What should we do next to remind people of our stories? Is there a way you can do that? And this could be along any lines, doesn't have to just be disability. I mean, doesn't have to just be communication, excuse me. Doesn't need to be disability. Anybody got anything? Gilda says, having disability history part of our curriculum at school. That's a good point, good one. Yeah. Anybody else?
I think that suggestion that came out, the points people were making about disability services in higher ed, whatever the system is, I think that that suggestion to try to make them more consistent, work together, and that's at least a starting point. There's already something called disability services, and trying to get them to be more responsive would be a great sort of advocacy focus for people who are interested.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Let's see. Emma says what did she say this? Hang on. At 5:03, she said, keep telling our stories, showing the world who we are through all mediums, right? Carrie says, also, my great grandpa was deaf and blind, so people wrote in his hand and I watched and learned. Oh, wow. Very cool. Kaylee says at 5:03, having people with disability in positions of power. Yep, you guys got to move yourselves up the ranks. William says, I agree, lose the labels at 5:03. I agree, lose the labels, share your thoughts, get them less interested in how you communicate and more interested in what you have to say. I love that. And focus shouldn't be only on the disability. Yes, it's part of us, but we are so much more than our accommodations. Very true. And Oscar, come on in.
Just reading from the chat, the last comment that was made by William, he kind of gave me an idea. So instead of the focus being derived to the disability, rather the focus should be on the interest, the capability, that passion, because everyone has a gift, everyone has a passion, everyone has a vocation, and if people find it and then they concentrate on it and then they express it and they share it with everyone, then that's a way of recognizing not just yourself but also as a community that yes, I may have certain obstacles in life, but look at what I'm capable of, look at what I'm passionate about, look, I'm here, right? So I think if we derive the focus not just individually but also collectively as a community, instead of on the disability, we focus on the capability, on the interests and passions, that will surely be a remarkable thing. And it could be anything because everyone has different interests. So I think if your interest is mathematics, then you put the spotlight in mathematics. If yours is in philosophy, then you put it in philosophy. If yours is in science, you put it in science. I mean, I think for science, the biggest example is Stephen Hawking. I mean, we should all take inspiration to him. He's considered one of the greatest minds. So I think if we're able to derive that focus and put the spotlight on the interest and the passions, then that will surely leave an effect and people will for sure change their perspective on us.
Yeah, definitely. I think too that, like you're saying, Oscar, and like you said, William, that just being the person that you are and making it, oh yeah, and by the way, he communicates through blah, 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 sign language. He communicates through typing. He communicates through, or she communicates through a device. However that looks, however your communicates through his staff, knowing him so well. Whatever the situation is, that's secondary to who you are and what you want to accomplish and your hopes and dreams and stuff. But I think we get nervous about putting it in a secondary spot because then people don't pay attention to it at all. So you have to really punch it too at the same time. Carrie said 5:06, everyone has unique talents. That's right. And William at 5:07 says, yes, Bella and I interviewed a wise woman in Mexico. She advised us to, I don't know how to say this. Someone who speaks Spanish, please say that part for me. Oh, pursue your passions and give it your all. I don't know how to say it in Spanish.
Échale la vida con ganas.
Okay, thank you. Pursue your passions and give it your all. So true. Very says, questioning the system, not being content with what's being decided for us. instead of being open to higher expectations. Question system not being content with what's being decided for us. Right, instead of being open to higher expectations. Yeah. Yeah. They asking, well, why can't I do that? Well, why isn't this happening? Why are we still waiting for this piece of equipment? Why is this acceptable to you? That I'm still waiting for my piece of equipment or waiting for my services? So this kind of brings us to what's going to happen next month on Communication Access Connect. And so I was opening up my emails so that I could share with you all, because I'm kind of excited about this opportunity. And I hope you all come and bring 2 friends, okay? Because next month, Victor Duran, he is from, I want to say it right, he's the project director for the master plan for developmental services and chief deputy director for California Department of Rehab. Okay. And he wrote to Judy in response to something she had written. If it's not too late, it would be great to get on the agenda for the next Communication Access Connect, which we're pushing it to the August one. From the description, I think this group represents a community that we need to engage with more, and for whom the typical input sessions are not always completely accessible. Let me know if joining in July is doable, or we'll do August. And so we're doing August. So I'm excited because next month he's going to be here. And this is going to be an opportunity for you all. And like I said, bring a friend or two to talk about what you need. I know they're talking about it in terms of, I mean, I know it sounds like he's intrigued because, or excited to talk to you, however he talks about it. Typical input sessions are not always completely accessible, but quite frankly, I think it's much more than that. I don't think that's the end of the story. Of course, things need to be accessible for you all, but meetings need to be accessible, but there's that, just because they make it accessible shouldn't be, you know, you're done talking to them about what you need.
But this is such a great opportunity for everyone, because in this master plan process, they have been looking at different focus groups and going all around the state and talking to people. And I bet you this is the only conversation that they will be able to have with a group of people where communication is top of mind. That's the whole reason we gather. And it is just such a fantastic opportunity to share, you know, what's important to you, your stories, but also think on, you know, how you want to see the world. I mean, they're very, this group, you know, because they've been having a lot of meetings and now they're breaking into work groups. They really appreciate any sort of thoughts on solutions. I mean, obviously, you know, that's a huge thing, but just a vision of where you want to see things going, and what you know, your lived experience is the most important thing there. That is the best data you can have when you're doing that kind of policy work. And so thoughts on, wow, if this were changed to look like X, Y, or Z, you know, that's what I offer. I just think it's an incredible opportunity, and you guys are so amazing in terms of your insights and thoughts. Like, this is just, I hope you come and share that with him.
Yes, please, please, please. I'm very excited about this opportunity. I really think you all need to be heard, and like we've been talking about today, some of these issues have been around for 30, 40, 50 years. We need to mark those off the list of things to do, right? And move on to the next step. So bring a friend. It's going to be, what's it going to be, Michaela? It's going to be August. I don't want to say the wrong one. August 20th. August 20th at 4 o'clock. okay? And we'll be here doing this thing again. All right? What, anybody, William, Otto, Bella, August 20th, 4 to 5:30. Thank you, Michaela. William says, could DVU share some tips about writing an elevator pitch? There will probably be lots of comments. Ooh, that's a good idea. Do we have, who can, if Tim was here, he would pull it up right away. Hang on, now you gotta ask me to do that. Where's our outline for elevator pitches? We do have that handout, right?
We have it probably in multiple places because we used
I
it.
know.
Yeah,
Give me 2
and
seconds.
at the emerging leaders too.
Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Oh, the other thing, if any of you are involved in leadership groups, or leadership group, I know some of you are. In August, and there's one in July still coming up, but in August, we're gonna have somebody from DRC talking about voting and getting involved in voting, so I'm excited about that too. Okay, let's look, elevator pitch. Let me look here real quick. Building an elevator pitch, let's see.
Darlene, I've got it in the chat for you.
Perfect, yeah, see, people find it better than me, thank you. Snag that if you want.
Do you want me to share that publicly?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Did you just share it with me? Yeah. If you could share that publicly, if you want some guidelines to remember to write on, let us know. Quite frankly, if you wrote down some ideas and you put it into ChatGPT, you can come up with something, but that's a good tip. Thanks, William. Carrie at 513 says, also my Toastmaster team through PRC is encouraging us to invite you to join Toastmasters. Oh. So, Carrie, do we do that on the PRC? That's Prinky Romick website? I gotta find Carrie. Hang on. Where are you, Carrie? Carrie, sorry. I can see you. Do we do that on the website? Join Toastmasters through PRC? I think Carrie's generating something, so I'm gonna leave it for her for a second. I'll email you. Okay, email it to us and then we can get that information out as well. People can email any one of us and we'll let you know. Gilda, you want to come on?
Hi everyone. I just wanted to announce that Disability Voices United is we're expanding our ambassador program, and we are looking for ambassadors that are part of the Alta California Regional Center, Golden Gate Regional Center, Central Valley Regional Center, North Los Angeles County Regional Center, and Tri-Counties Regional Center. So I'll put if anyone's interested, if it's open for clients, self-advocates, and family members of people served from the regional centers that I just stated. I'll put it in the chat if anyone's interested or if they would like to share the information with others.
Thanks, Gilda. And then here, let's see, at 516, Bella says, this was a needed meeting for the minds. Thanks, everyone. I'm looking forward to being part of the solution for the master plan. Good. Just continuing to mark your calendars. I don't know what we'll do for September yet. I think we might have a vendor, but in October 15th, I believe it is, we are finally, this is another thing on my list of things to talk about, going to be talking about communication access and in people as we age. So we have Debbie Drennan, I think is how you say her name, Drennan. She is an AT specialist and she specializes in the aging population. And so she's going to be here October 15th. So I'm excited to talk to her today. I talked to her today and she totally nailed what we want to talk about. So I'm really excited. That's going to be a great one. So I think we have a good second half of the year planned out here, which will be really nice. All right, William says he's feeling recharged. Thanks, William. All right, everyone. Well, I think if that's all for our announcements, I'm going to wrap up our meeting and say thank you all for coming today, and watch for next month's announcements and share them with your friends, because I really, really, really think it's a great opportunity, as Nina said, for us to be heard and put your elevator pitches together and make sure you're ready to go with them. That's a great
Riley,
tip, William. Yeah.
I just put a PDF copy of that in the chat so people can download it before you close the meeting so they don't have to save the link if they haven't.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oscar says, thank you for hosting this session. Great topic. Looking forward to the next one. Great. Please join us, Oscar, and tell all your ICC friends as well. The focus will be on communication access, but you know, as we go into anything that has to do with assistive technology and accommodation. So he might not know that's where we're going with this, but that's where we're going with this. Otto says, thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you, Otto. Thank you, William. And thank you, Bella, the mod squad, for joining us today. And thank you all for participating. We'll see you next time.